You know, Joshua, I've been wondering, like, if when you look back on all those years, do you have the feeling that the conversation about A Course in Miracles and forgiveness has changed? Like, did it get a different quality, or is it still the same?
Oh, that's a very tricky question. You see, when looking at it all from India, maybe I'll give you a different kind of reply. I don't know, because I think this is a place where uh, we've got used to the idea of non-duality and the idea of oneness, and I don't think we per se, particularly from this side of India per se, had much of a problem in understanding, or when even teacher or a book that came and spoke of the nature of reality as, there is no two. I i think historically we were prepared, like in Europe you are prepared. uh, in the case of art, you had Renaissance, you had a lot going on, and right now when a modern artist look at come up with something new, you have a legacy, you have a history there, which we cannot duplicate. For instance, I'm just giving you a metaphor. Similarly, the idea of, even if on the terrain of philosophy, even if you consider it as a philosophy, not as a living wisdom, even if it's on that level, I think we were pretty much prepared to some extent to discard this idea of duality.
Mhm.
So when Course in Miracles came, and when some of us started looking at the extraordinariness of metaphysics, I think some of us were ready to embrace it, and we don't have. I don't think, there are some practicing in Pune, some in Bangalore, some here and there scattered. We don't have a community like you have, but
Mhm.
um, we were pretty much willing and surrendered to look at the nature of reality. So we didn't have need to go into the nitty-gritty ideas of, whether this stands against our experiential wisdom. But when I look at particularly in the West, in the United States, teachers and students, this is one thing which we were a little amused about, and we still are amused, because we wonder what's the big deal. It's so clear, plain. Um, am I? Is my head cut off a bit? I
Yeah, we can
just.
see a bit, we could see a bit more of your head. You know, what I feel is in the West, forgiveness in that radical sense as A Course in Miracles teaches it, I think it's a surprise to hear that the world doesn't exist. Um, I think that's surprising for pretty much everyone at all points in time. Uh, but it's almost like there's a big discussion about it going on, if that's actually true. Is it actually true what Jesus says in the Course? I mean, I read the Course and I believe in the Course, but does he really mean that there's no word? It's almost like this, it's hard to accept conceptually. And as soon as I start to accept it, like how do I live that? I think this is the phase where we're coming into, and also what we want to invite everyone here and welcome everyone for joining us. What we want to look at together is how do we actually live such a radical message, and uh, what are the obstacles to it so it can be really an experience. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the need, or the question we're looking at the moment.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, your email was mentioning this word gap. which makes sense because there's a gap in understanding the principle and applying it in our everyday life. I I think Kenneth Wapnick was gracious enough to teach us repeatedly that this is not going to be easy. And no one said that this path is easy, even though Ko says that it is simple. It is simple, but it's not easy. Yeah, I think all of us would agree to that. It is not, particularly when we are really caught up in the daily drama of duality, when we really need something to bounce off, some person there to bounce the ball off. It's not easy for us to um, see what is beyond, as Ko says, that the truth of the light that is beyond what is apparent. So, and even some of the questions you shared with me this morning, which came from our community here,
All of you guys, thank you.
um, they reflect that a little that anxiety that we all bear. You know, how do I face that mother-in-law? How do I manage my finances? How do I deal with the triggers, certain relationship
Mhm.
trigger? And like we had a questionnaire last week. So I was mentioning this to her that the answers are not going to be delicate and easy because, and I'm sure that all of us here are willing and ready to some extent uh, to face the difficulty. And we have some amount of, in fact, we have huge resistance and
Mhm.
uh, defense. We are so defensive against the course, and course itself says that. So I think the teacher knows exactly who students are
Mhm.
and on what level we are right now on. And but fortunately, it also is very kind and compassionate. So I think we only need to stick on with it. Speaking from my experience, even though the journey could appear tough for so many years, but if we stick on, there are rewards. And um,
Yeah, I think this is what everyone can relate. Like we feel that forgiveness and what the course says is something that we want or desire, but then going on that journey and seeing that there's such a resistance to actually allow that to be true uh, is surprising. Almost like it's like, yeah, of course I want the big present, but then I see I actually do not want it. There are enormous mechanisms at work that I believe in, where I prefer attack, I prefer hate, I prefer guilt, I prefer to die rather than forgive. And I think this comes kind of as a shock for everyone who starts off seriously embarking on that journey. And I think this, it can't be emphasized often enough to be gentle with oneself, when we realize I'm not that as an eager student as I thought, or uh, being a student entails something completely different than I expected. Um, I didn't believe that I would be so resistant. And I think this comes into building a healthy attitude towards our present journey with the
that's
course.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, truly, yes. This part is truly surprising. And which school of thought, which ideology, or which scripture would tell us upfront, right away in our face, that, look, you're not ready for this. Even even when we progress into the book, you'll notice it when maybe I'm in chapter 27 or even in the manual, it says in manual. It's like it took Helen 7 years and it's almost at the end of 7 years. Particularly that section is that can we reach God directly? That question. Somewhere it says that you don't, teachers of God still don't understand, yet don't understand. But it is all right. Just, go ahead and do. That's some sort of, I don't exactly remember, but
Mhm.
the voice knows exactly what's going on. So I don't think I mean, we'll be shocked at first, but we also have the luxury to feel a little gentle about ourselves and get accustomed to the idea that, yeah, maybe we are not really ready for this, but let us just go ahead and stick with this whole process.
Exactly, exactly. For me, this is in a way comforting. It feels comforting because I'm not expected to fully understand God, to be a teacher or to be on that journey. Um, I'm told, yeah, you are kind of walking around in the darkness, uh, even with, perception getting more friendly, my mind getting more friendly. It's still, from my perspective, a vague journey because perception is not based on certainty. It's everything shifts and changes. And yet this his plan will work if I just stick with the instructions. So
Mhm.
I have the instructions, I have prayer, I have the lessons, like the lesson we're looking at today together, 122. Forgiveness is the what is it? Is it the key to happiness or offers everything I want? Offers everything I want. And so it's comforting to say, yeah, you don't have to understand, you don't even have to be ready fully. Just apply what you've been given. Just go with the tools.
Yeah. That's mercy.
This mercy.
I mean, I did study Advaita Vedanta for a while, and uh, it was too clinical, and some canonical texts like even Shankara's some of the texts would actually scare you because with all the respect to those teachers, but the one this entire idea of that holy teacher inside you, the holy guide inside you, was
Mhm.
totally missing, and it is missing from Vedanta. I mean Advaita. So um, grace, yes, but grace is a kind of a very abstract idea that
Mhm.
you would not have anyone to hold a hand, when
Mhm.
Bose came and told us clearly that you have someone walking with you all the day. He's your only friend.
Yeah. Wow. Mhm.
Fortunately, we have that friend while we struggle through this journey. I think all of us can take it for granted that all of us do struggle at some point or the other, even when you are sort of an advanced student. It happens. None of us is perfect here. So, but it's also kind of, I think it's a solace to the students. But even through those struggles, we find courage to drop the meanings that we have given to this journey itself, to the book, to ourselves,
Mhm.
to the process. Yeah,
Yeah.
forgiveness included.
Absolutely. So, well, welcome everyone again. A few more guys came in, so thanks for joining us. Joshua and I are having a little warm-up conversation to start into our Miracle Sunday. And I'm glad this time the connection is working. The Wi-Fi is not failing us like last week. And so I can be here too. And so just maybe Joshua to give our friends some introduction how we want to structure this. Joshua and myself, we will each kind of explore the idea of forgiveness, and open up and also address one or two questions that some of you raised when you registered for this Miracle Sunday. And then we will open up for your questions and yeah, for a conversation with you. So you know how we're going to approach this format today. And yeah, thank you for this collaboration here. I know that when minds join in his name and in his single purpose, then there's no coincidence. Like everything that we will look at together will somehow be a collaboration of all of our minds and will address something that might be of value for you. At least we hope that you know, we will remember the universe together. And maybe if not, we might be able to just let one or the other grievance and judgment go to, to ease our mind, to bring our mind back to, uh, yeah, the peace of God and have a truly wonderful Sunday morning here together. And yeah, Joshua, if you want to start exploring the idea, and I step back and we just follow your train of thoughts here. You good with that?
Talking about the particular lesson here, lesson 122.
Yeah, if just as it comes to you, and include the lesson of
Right.
workbook number 122.
Um, um, yeah, like I said, I was looking at some of the questions that you sent, and I mean, I thought I'd generally give a general look at the questions and not particularly to answer anything, but um, I would want to invite uh, your attention to um, the nature of our worries, the even uh, behind the questions, the anxiety behind the questions. I mean, with respect to, while being respectful to all these worries, like how do I live forgiveness in everyday life, or how do I uh, um, stay in peace when I get triggered, or how do I heal the partnerships, how to deal with the triggers in relationships, and how to forgive people who deeply hurt me. These questions are so important. So physical illness and depression and so forth and so on. But if I would love to invite your attention to the energy behind all these questions. I mean, these are universal questions. These are questions coming from all of us, not just those people who raise these questions. But in the light of what we are studying, the light of the book, light of the notes that were given to Helen, I think we need to look at the nature of questions first. Uh, are we understanding it all in the right sense? Are we looking at it from the wrong end of the stick? Are we still worried and concerned about my body, myself, my issues, my world? And if we are, then how far will that take us? Where are we going with all this? Again, I mean, being respectful to all the questions and worries, like I said, these are my own questions as well. But where will we end up if we are trying to solve problems one after another? That is where I think we need to resort to the core of the course, the metaphysical part of the course. We sometimes tend to forget, or sometimes, like earlier Andrea said, most of the times we raise a big wall of defense against not other portions. Of course, if you have noticed, we don't have any problem. I mean, we have, but still we accept Jesus. We accept the terms like salvation or Holy Spirit. We don't have problems with them. What we have problem with is the metaphysics of course, if you have noticed. Now, isn't that a little amusing? Isn't that shouldn't we a little curious about this? Why are we scared of the metaphysics of the Course? And I think the simple logic is that we want God and we want the world. We want the happiness of heaven, and we want our world intact. So, inadvertently, without meaning, without such intention, I mean, outwardly, in our innocence, in our innocence, we're still trying to change the world, even with forgiveness. You see how the mind traps us and tricks us, The text that gave us the idea of true forgiveness also taught us the metaphysics of it. But what we are in effect trying to do is to keep the metaphysics a little bit aside and to retain that sense of duality here, to retain the egos, so that my ego will forever be intact. Because I'm here to forgive. I have to forgive somebody. My mother-in-law, when she's giving so much of trouble, how do I? And all the triggers coming from those people. But honestly, are those triggers coming from someone else? Where are the triggers? What did we learn? I think at some point in his life, according to New Testament, I forgot which gospel, Master at some point, one point, asks his apostles, some of them, you could even sense a little bit of pain in his voice. Haven't you still got it yet? Jesus asked that question, I think, a couple of times. You still haven't got it. So even after 50 years, I think we, the students of light, are still fumbling. And because we do have what Course calls as the investments of the mental judgments in the world. And that is why we want to solve the problem one after another. See, nothing wrong in wishing to have peace at home, nothing wrong in wishing or longing for happiness. But the teaching very clearly says that you will never get answers in this world. Doesn't the Course also teaches that this is a world, it is a form of vengeance? Everything you perceive, lesson 23 says that everything we perceive is a pictorial representation of our attack thoughts. And that everything includes your son and daughter and career and money and your little self and everything. So why are we trying still to absorb some certain portions of sonship and keep it clean? And I don't care what happens to the rest of the sonship, but this I have to change. And inadvertently, without meaning to, with all our innocence, we are still forgetting the metaphysical core of the teaching, and we are still imagining that the person is there. I'm believing in my projection, the perception as projection, and then trying to change my mother-in-law or my husband or my wife or, the relationships. Now, I can only invite you to take a look at yourself and ask yourself, is this what I really want? Is this what, I'm Courses, particularly, I forgot which lesson, maybe 122. It says heaven waits. it clearly says heaven waits. Yeah, the same lesson. So when heaven waits, do I want to clean up my world here and make all the relationships go smooth? And what are we waiting for? Well, now comes this essential question. Okay, then how do we go about this? How to deal with this? But before that, before we get there, we don't need to hurry over there. Some of us would be on different levels of understanding or acceptance. Um, it says that I have this lesson here, 132. It says that not everyone, it says that, okay, I'm going to read this too. There is no world. This is the central thought the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can let himself or she can let herself be led along the road to truth. So let us not hurry ourselves to the metaphysics. Let us also be kind to ourselves, and but we need to look at this defense of ours, look straight in its face. We have to accept that we are trying to run away. We constantly keep to keep trying to run away from the teaching. It should be, I think, it is in the light of this metaphysics that we should be looking at, or re-looking, or maybe take another look at our own problems, our own questions. Look, please don't misunderstand. I'm not preaching from the ivory tower. I am also among you. I've had my share of struggles. Forget everything. I'm living in India. That itself tells a lot, actually. And as a course student. So mm, I'm also a taxpayer, or maybe trying to pay my taxes, you can put it like that. I have a family. I went through a lot. You can look at my head, you'll see that this is the proof of that. But you know, I was thrown out of my house back when and we got married. We were just 6 months into marriage, and some scuffle, I mean, some this and that happened, and dad said, get out of my house. So so the next morning we had to leave. And then there was something going, I was just 21, and it's not like you people there in India. Most of us live our entire lifetimes either with the parents or parents with us. So, but the struggles went on and on and on. And when I got this book, that's what I said in the introduction. Like, I think some of us were ready, we were prepared. The field was plowed enough for the seed. Maybe we should ask ourselves, am I plowed enough? Ramana Maharshi often reminds of this phenomenon that he says the spirit of grace would pull you from inside, and the world will push you. So there's this push pull, and the push pull has to happen. Otherwise, we won't let go of this world. Otherwise, we will just try to cling on to the dream. And so instead of trying to solve the problems, I think we must be willing to look at our concepts of the world and, why am I still hanging on here to paint it white, you know, whitewashing it all? And can you let go of all those cares? Can you be careless? I think for Indians, it's a little more easier to say that because all our lives we were careless. We had little to, hang on to. And please don't think that I'm bringing up all this difference between West and East and all, but these are all just teaching points and hoping that this will be helpful. Just looking at from the other side of the globe, that's all. But we have to, at some point, uh, be willing to release, and forgiveness itself means that there is nothing. I think that's another misunderstanding. We mix the idea of Christian idea of forgiveness at some point or other. There is nobody to forgive but your own beliefs, your own ideas, how a person should behave with me. Only if this particular member of family behaves in this particular way, I'll be happy. So let him change. Lord, make him change. I'll forgive him. Okay, all right, I'll do that. But eventually he has to change, right, Jesus? This world will never change. It is incapable of changing. So it also asks us, do not turn away in aimless wandering again. See, when we go after solving a problem, we are engaging in aimless wandering. Because as long as we believe in the problem and solution, can't we see that this itself is a trap? So that we will remain in this. But within this context, we can, of course, look at the micro issues and, you know, uh, see how we can apply the metaphysics there, not in another person, but in oneself. Andreas,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah,
does it make sense?
that makes sense. Yeah, thank you. And I've been following what you shared in that lesson, 122. And and I always stumble again and again across his call. And he says, here is the answer. Here is the answer. Do not turn away in aimless wandering again, as you just shared. And uh, to give myself um, permission to believe in this. Like Jesus is emphasizing here that we have found the answer. Like it's not my part to put the pieces of the puzzle together to figure this out, but to go with a very clear idea that he's emphasizing throughout the course over and over again, which is salvation, which is release from everything I thought, from everything I valued. And if we, for this format, we put on our flag, let's make this really down to earth, make this very practical, make this very tangible. And just to see that he is not speaking of something that is too abstract, that is too far out of our reach, but very much meant to be for us who believe we are living these lives. We're experiencing the things that we experience. I have the struggles, or I believe in the struggles that I have. I believe in the problems that I see. And that's very much here. It's very much in the world. It's very much experiencing myself as a human being and living a life of Andreas. And I love what you shared, Joshua, about, life in India and uh, you may be having like an advantage in that way that you're not so much identified or invested in the world as the Western mind might be. Um, And for me, it's becoming more honest with myself that I am investing in the offers of this world. I am investing in um, things that I believe make me safe, in things that I believe I can achieve. And it takes some, I don't know, I don't want to wait for a crisis really. Like I know a crisis will hit sooner or later. You know, there's a market crash uh, announced for the next, I don't know, next year or next couple of years. So things might go a bit strange for some while, but I don't want to wait for anything serious to happen. AI is on the horizon and it might take away jobs, it might take away income, and so on and so forth. But I don't really want to wait for things to get really uncomfortable before I look honestly on my investments in this world, in this body. Like, you know, I started off doing this course when I was around 26-ish, I think, 26-ish, 27. And, you know, the whole world was in front of me. Like I could do whatever. But I said, everything I try to do in this world is hurting me, no matter what it is. Like I even tried to escape this continent, to live on another continent to make me happy there. And that didn't work out either because I take my mind with me wherever I go. My programs are active on this continent or another. So I was very much in despair and had A Course in Miracles with me, started to do the lessons and put it away for a year because it was so intense that I couldn't stand it. Like I was afraid of everything. And this course didn't help to ease my mind at that stage. So after a year, I picked it up again and I finally heard the soothing voice in that course. And I was clear that I felt not capable of doing anything in this world other than getting by through miracles. Like, okay, I can get by. I do receive the money I need for my daily life, for the food, for the car. I lived in a car back then for some time, and and that was enough. And I can do A Course in Miracles. I don't need more. Like I just need coffee, A Course in Miracles, and the car. And that was given. That was provided. So I was happy that miracles work out that way. Um, and I was clear that nothing in this world offers what A Course in Miracles offers. So I often prescribe my life to this teaching because it's a pathway to truth and a very very clear, precise, uncompromising path that's gentle at the same time. And now in my life, I see myself in a position where I see that um, things seem to work out, and that's a surprise to me. It's literally a surprise to me. Like maybe you know that we organize festivals and they're well visited. Other things work out, like teaching formats for A Course in Miracles, and um, so I'm experiencing myself in a new way. Like if I start doing something and I do it with Jesus, I do it with a miracle mind and a mind of forgiveness, things tend to work out most of the time in a very worldly understanding. My neighbor always asks me, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. It happens. I haven't been honest with him. I said I apply A Course in Miracles, but I didn't say I'm doing it with Jesus and God. So there's a bit of a block in me, to be that frank. And hang on, I call back. And so it looks as if when I do A Course in Miracles, when I apply teachings and I hand things over to Jesus, things look like they're working out. but still, truth remains the truth that the things of this world do not make me happy. Whatever I achieve in a worldly sense uh, does not come close to what forgiveness offers me. And I have a fancy car, for example, that could have never dreamt of. Like it's totally, it was such a shock to my system to drive a fancy car that I was in crisis for over 4 years. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. There were moments of relief in that too, but it was almost like starting a relationship that's very demanding in terms of forgiveness. And I'm slowly coming to peace with this car. Um, and again, like I start enjoying driving this car, really. Like I really like driving this car now. Um, and when I look at Jesus's introduction here to lesson 122, what could you want forgiveness cannot give? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness? A quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world? Do I want happiness? Do you want happiness? Do you want to have a quiet mind? Do you want a certainty of purpose and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world? Yes, I want that. Do you want care and safety and the warmth of sure protection always? Yeah, I want that. Do you want quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that never can be hurt, a deep, abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect it can never be upset? Yeah, that sounds like something I would like. And all this forgiveness offers you and more. And I can tell you through, and I'm sure you have your own experiences, that through my experience, there's nothing in this world that offers that. You know, a car can get scratches. A car can, sometimes I've got kids in my car, and uh, you know how much of a forgiveness lesson that is. You know, they come with dirty shoes, with dirty pants, sticky fingers. They leave crumbles everywhere. They don't even have to enter the car. It's already dirty before they enter. And so a car does not offer me the safety. It doesn't offer me the joy that forgiveness offers. It's not undisturbed. It can be easily disturbed. Everything that I believe I own or can uh, execute as a right, it can be easily disturbed. Or when I go with forgiveness and enter into, allow myself to enter into his, well, mind. We are in his mind anyway, but that my awareness can open up for being in him, releasing all the ideas that I haven't been honest about yet. You know, if I can feel that there are investments in my mind in good outcomes, the avoidance of bad outcomes, that this body keeps on working for a little bit longer, is healthy for a little bit longer. These are investments and they will hurt me. So if I start looking at it and I feel it's not nice, my investments are not nice to me, and I can choose forgiveness instead because forgiveness offers everything I want. I'm pretty much relying on him showing me, mm, what forgiveness is, how this works within me. And it's been a great opener, Joshua. Thank you. Like to become aware of the resistance to that. Don't take that away from me. Don't take my investments away from me. Like if I let go of the car, if I let go of the positive outcomes, if I let go of the hope for health for this body, I will surely lose it. Because letting go in the world means you lose it. But in forgiveness, letting go means you receive an upgrade. You receive an upgrade in terms of how you feel, how safe you feel, how valuable you feel, how uh, you receive a sense of beauty and worth that transcends the world. That's an upgrade. That's not a loss. And yeah, maybe we can take it from here, Joshua. What do you think?
Yeah, listening to you, I guess I guess I'm reminded of this phenomenon that we all go through, because I think, to add on to what I said a little bit earlier, after listening to you, I'm kind of feeling that yes, we do run away from the teaching and we want the world intact, but we also sometimes approach like a child, tiptoeing back to the course or back to the teaching and take a look at it, and then run back again to the world. So I think all of us are playing this game, uh, dancing between the idea of forgiving the world as the other, and then also trying to see that can I drop the investments in me, and maybe that's what my master taught. So I think there is a dilly-dallying going on. It is going on in me as well. Sometimes I try to make these investments. And there's this funny thing I must add here. I tell my students, I have a small study group here. I tell my students that, look, I am teaching course not because I'm spiritual and, I'm kind of, I was pushed to a corner where I was completely helpless. You mentioned the car. We also have a car here, but I am not able to drive because I tried my best to. Whenever I go to a driving school, I drive well. And those teachers would say, now you go and attend the test. And when I appear for the test, the very next, after 10 seconds, I'll forget whatever I've learned. And I'll be thrown out of this license test. And um, so I think also in the case of relatives, speaking in terms of investment, my dad was not particularly very happy with his sets of relatives or my mom's relatives. So, and mom as well. So basically, I grew up without much contact with cousins or nephews and nieces, and so not much investment there. And then also, I'm trying to tell this side of the story so that you will get the point that maybe some of us are not really ready, but the script sometimes helps in an ironical way. We did not have a house proper, so we were renting out places. So that ensured that Joshua would never have a permanent, neighborhood boys and friends to play with, and also we kept on moving, relocating different places. So no neighborhood, no relatives, and even dad and mom were behaving this way. So I couldn't even invest in my dad. I was not allowed to invest anywhere. So fortunately, that is. And now my son, he's also very independent, and I mean, compared to this Indian standard of father, son, mother, daughter, and all those relations. Even my daughter, she said she's going away to Europe. She's not coming back. So I think my script is helping me not to invest in these. Otherwise, a guy like me, I'm a very sensitive person. I'm trying to get attached to something or other all the time. And the biggest attachment of mine was to my talents, my skill sets. I could write well in my language, in English. I could write non-fiction, fiction, blah, 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 all that. I could shoot, I could take pictures, films, videos, you name it. I've been a kind of a jack of all trades, but none of that, like Andreas reminded, none of that, everything hurt me in the end. None of that came to support me or help me because everything collapsed. None of that was working in the world. So that's why I was saying that when Coach came and told me that, look, you don't want anything that is in the world, I happily said, yes, 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 I'm with you. I'm ready, I'm with you. Not that I was completely willing, that came from my sense of despair. I was not ready for the teaching, or I still don't know if I'm ready for the teaching and master. The pain made me not want the world. So in Sanskrit, they say that smashana vairagya, smashana vairagya. It literally translated as cemetery dispassion, where you bury the dead. It's a kind of a dispassion that comes temporarily. For instance, when someone we love passes away, for a few days or weeks, we'll feel so rejected and dejected, and we don't want anything in the world. But that will pass away. So I started off with that kind of dispassion, not the genuine. But at some point, I think I had to surrender and let go because nothing was working. Nothing was working. My partner, Bini, my circle of friends, they were all surprised. Like, why, Josh? What is happening? In these parts, we go and meet astrologers when nothing works. We go to astrologers. So I had a share of astrologers. I went with one of my friends took me, and none of those answers helped me. So anyway, I mean, these stories, I'm sure you will have your wonderful, colorful share of stories as well. So to reinstate or to stress what Andreas was mentioning, not even a single attempt of ours to have a separate bubble of existence away from our home. No attempt will work. Even if I'm trying to establish an organization to teach a course in miracles, and if I'm trying to escape, it will crash. It will not work. So eventually, I think, even while having that list of problems to solve, eventually we will transcend all those problems. Gently, slowly, our inner guide is taking us because all of us have given our willingness. That is the good news here. We have committed. I mean, maybe we're not fully committed. We're not fully, maybe we are little trying to fool us here and there, but still we have given some amount of commitment, and that stands because it is no human who's handling this. So it's our own pure spirit. So we will come to um, understand and accept the idea of forgiveness as, in truth and spirit, Master wanted us to know, to learn. We will get there, or we are getting there. So we don't need to beat up ourselves for this. It's all fine. Wherever you are, it's all fine. And sessions like these, I hope, would help each other because we are here to heal and to be healed. So I guess I guess we're doing okay despite all. our ignorance.
Absolutely. And if you're okay with that, Joshua, I would like to share something from that lesson so we can apply some of those ideas in our mind. And yeah, I would just like invite all of you to yeah, to be open and receptive for a new thought. And the thought that Jesus offers here is forgiveness offers everything I want. And I just share something from paragraph 8. Open your eyes today and look upon a happy world of safety and of peace. Forgiveness is the means by which it comes to take the place of hell. In quietness, it rises up to greet your eyes today. In quietness, it rises up to greet your open eyes and fill your heart with deep tranquility. As ancient truths, forever newly born, arise in your awareness. Forgiveness is the means. What you will remember then can never be described, yet your forgiveness offers it to you. And remembering the gifts forgiveness gives, we undertake our practicing today with hope and faith that this will be the day salvation will be ours. No, I might not be totally certain that this is true, but we have hope and we have faith, and those are the keys to allow that new awareness to come in. Earnestly and gladly will we seek for it today, aware we hold the key within our hands, accepting heaven's answer to the hell we made, but where we would remain no more. Because here is the answer. Here is the answer. This is a gift that God is giving us. It's not something, it's not a philosophy, it's not an attitude of the world, it's not an offer of the world. But God is here, God is now. Jesus is with us here. Jesus is with us now to help us bridge the gap and to allow that something is coming to us that transcends our little understanding and our little thoughts. Because we have a great need for a divine thought to clear our mind, to straighten our mind, to remember that everything we're looking for is present in this moment, and that our thoughts are just striving to reach something in the future or pondering on something that happened in the past. And now we join here because we're ready to receive what is now instead of overlooking what is now, and just go with the trust that, yeah, the simple solution is here. You might want to complicate it, but that won't change his answer. So thank you for this moment. Thank you for joining in this moment. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Today, I have accepted this as true. Today, I have received the gifts of God. And we welcome that with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you for joining in this. And there were questions that we that we mentioned before, and one question was, how do I get this? I don't want to open a totally new subject here. But since you mentioned it earlier, Joshua, as well, how do I get clarity in relationships, with forgiveness? Because this is often the place where um, the absence of peace is experienced, and everything else seems to be alive and kicking, but not peace. And how does forgiveness work in relationships at all? Like, is this even a thing? Or is it just a promise and like in high aspiration? And I think, where it gets tough, the going gets tough. It's just a good indicator for us to choose again and to say, okay, well, I don't see it yet, but I choose forgiveness as the thought I want to hang on to now in this situation that feels tough, that feels dramatic, and it looks as if there is no way out of this other through an enormous amount of compromise. And I just want to be open here and now again. Um, and yeah, maybe I don't know, Joshua. Maybe we can open this up for Q&A at this point. We have 25 minutes left. You good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if anyone has a question or wants to jump in on this, please feel free. And at this point, a big thanks to Corona for translating for the German speakers here. And if you have a question or you want to raise, a situation you want to get clarity on, just either raise your hand and or unmute you, and we'll gladly look at things together with you. Because yeah, I know there are many questions. Like it's almost like a bias, Joshua. I find at least that in Course Miracles circuits, it's not so common to actually raise a question out of numerous reasons. But through the advent of AI, it kind of became clear that there are many, many questions to be asked for the AI concerning A Course in Miracles that were never raised in circuits like these. So there is a real need, I find, for exchange, for pondering, but maybe a pondering that doesn't judge. I think that's the fear that if I show myself with a question, I will be judged for it. And the AI doesn't judge me, so I go to the AI and talk to the AI instead of a human being.
I guess the spirit will arrange whichever helpful agent, whether it's human or artificial, to guide them. So those who are comfortable that way, I think, will be led to that source.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, someone has raised.
Annemarie, you can unmute yourself.
Ja, ich habe jetzt nicht direkt eine Frage, aber
Ich übersetze für dich, ja? She doesn't have a question directly.
aber ich bin zutiefst dankbar für dieses Sharing, für dieses gemeinsame Sein, weil ich glaube, für mich ist das das Einzige,
I'm deeply
was mir,
great. I'm deeply grateful for this sharing here together.
das ist das Einzige, was mir wirklich, ja, wie soll ich sagen, tiefen Frieden beschert.
It's the only thing that gives me real deep peace.
Mit uns gemeinsam diese Dinge zu teilen. Ja, ich bin euch zutiefst dankbar dafür.
No, thank you. Yeah, so she's very thankful for sharing these things together.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
there were several
Und
chats.
ich liebe Indien.
So love to India.
Thank you. Love to Germany too. I mean, I was mentioning this, I mean, the chats were popping up saying thank you, thank you. So I think
Thank you.
we acknowledge that. We acknowledge all the gratitude coming from your heart. I think Andreas Course is very clear about the importance of joining, even when we're not ready, or we're not sure about the teaching, or we have not really understood it. It's all right. Manuel says that, joining together is that will clear off everything else. Katya, gratitude. Yeah, thank you.
Super. Okay, there's Winnie. Winnie, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I have known A Course in Miracles, I guess, for maybe 12 years, but it's only the past 2 years I actually understood what forgiveness meant. But of course, I have got some knowledge about the metaphysical because I was reading the course.
Vinny, excuse me. Can you speak a bit slower? We've got a translator who's translating simultaneously.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I continue now? Or
Yeah, a bit slower. If you can, a bit
Yeah.
slower. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. My question is, I have been dealing all my life with anxiety, and I have moments where it has, there has been a immediate shift just from high anxiety to complete peace and stuff like that. And still, it seems to keep coming back. I'll take a break.
Thank you.
And there has been a period where I took medicine, and I have done therapy, lots of forgiveness. I mean, many modalities. So I'm wondering, how do I see where I don't surrender completely, or something like that? Is that, you know
Because
what I mean about that?
because it keeps coming up, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I've heard another woman say, well, maybe this body will have anxiety all her life, and I'm just learning I'm not the body. But it may be the answer, but it doesn't help me, it seems.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to jump in on this one? I can go too if you want.
Vinny, thank you, Vinny. Thank you. And
Yeah.
we've met only on Facebook, likes and comments and all that. So nice to meet you finally. I'm I know it's not easy for you at all. I mean, from what we have heard, you must have suffered a lot, and this is not. There is no easy way to look at this or to answer this, because we always have to be honest. Taking a little break from course, let me tell you about what the Indians believe. There is a predominant sense of belief here about, in fact, course mentions about karma in the manual, but in a different context. We call it the law of prarabdha. Law of prarabdha means what you have brought into this life, this lifetime. Course simply calls it script. And I can only speak from my heart and what the a different set of challenge I've always faced. I mean, even right from my childhood till this day, I'm facing that one particular challenge, and it never goes away. It's a huge, big challenge, actually. It ashames me. It puts me in situations where things are really difficult to face. And, the guilt that comes along with the judgments on what I'm facing, etc., etc. The place I came to be eventually is a space of a kind of acceptance. I'm not saying that we look, in the first place, we cannot, I mean, to be very logical and to be very blunt, we cannot fight whatever is happening. And we are not asked by any wisdom stream to battle against. So I think that the consensus across the world through the civilization and through all forms of wisdom is this one term called acceptance. Though it may sound very grandmotherish or kind of a very passive, very dumb idea, I think that is the most progressive place for some of us who are caught in one or two or few challenges constantly through the life. That is the place I think if we can come there. So getting there itself is another challenge, obviously, but there is a destination for us or a midway, before we get to the bliss, before we get to the heaven or even the borderland. This is a place I think we can aspire to reach. It is a day-to-day effort, and while we are at it, I think we also will pass through this external dilemma, the torture, the torment of it. We do pass through it. Now, while we are at it, while we are trying to reach the space of acceptance, we can also little by little, uh, disinvest, try, like you said, the lady was mentioning about how you're not a body and all. Maybe we can approach this from many different directions and not look for just one particular answer. And spirit will help you and is helping you, that is for certain. And which is also in my case, that is what is happening. Like we heard Andreas mentioning about the miracles and how it is sustaining him. So you're not alone, Winnie. You're in a great company of entire mankind, because each of us is going through our own brutal and sometimes extraordinary kind of suffering, which is universal. So bit by bit, we deal with it day by day, look at each day as a compartment from day to night. Can I look at it instead of feeling the anguish of, oh my God, how am I going to, you know, through entire life, the rest of the years, how will I pass it? Instead of going there, you can look at it in the daytime compartment, constantly call the guide for help and also human help, wherever you find help from. I know I'm not in technically, I'm not uh, an adept. I mean, I'm not a professionally qualified person to comment on the kind of situation that you're passing through, but still, suffering is suffering. Everyone suffers. So, um, and partly you can also borrow from this Indian idea of the prarabdha, the script, which, obviously we came with our script. We wrote this for some particular reason. We wanted to pass through this. We are also punishing ourselves. And eventually we will come to a position to know that we don't need all this. But till then, we have to actively invoke the spirit and the invisible help and the visible help, and at some point it will end.
Can I ask you one more question?
I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm here, but
Yeah, maybe a short one, Vinny. We've got another question here in the chat.
This is a short one. It seems like trying to get human help is a kind of non-acceptance. But
let us for a moment forget all the theories, Vinny, all the theology, all the theory, all the theoretical approach. What is right? What is wrong? Let us only focus on Buddha always. Buddha never spoke about God because he was simple and plain, and he said there's only one thing that we can understand, that is suffering. So let us come back to not to our own fanciful ideas about what should happen, how should it happen, but leaving all that behind, let us focus on what I am going through right now, and can I open myself up for help, even if it is coming from the devil.
thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And it ties into what Margaret is asking here in the chat. Her question is, it is indeed the judgment of your own things that keeps me back from asking questions. But now I would say I always seem to be in a hurry. Something is pushing me forward and urges me to always do something useful. Being useful, that is my big belief, I guess. Can you comment on that? And I've just been looking at that myself because there's so many things I can be useful for, or in my life, but when I truly become slow enough or present enough with my feelings and in this present moment, then I see that there's always the voice that says, you are in lack, do something. Something is missing, do something. And it's not a place of inspiration. It's not a place of clear, simple, calm guidance. It is a place of being rushed by an inner rusher. And it disguises as, it would be really helpful if you answer your emails now. It would be really helpful to do the dishes now. It would be really helpful to do the laundry now. It would be really helpful if you call this and that person. And always with that second phrase attached, if you don't do it, you're damned. Actually, you're damned already, but you can undamn yourself if you just do what's helpful. So, you can clearly see that this is not the voice of the Holy Spirit, and it's not the voice that directs us to the things that are truly helpful right now. And yeah, as you just mentioned, Joshua, it's not really the question, what is the right thing to do? What is the wrong thing to do? It comes down to forgiveness first, forgiveness first. Because there, really, you mentioned the devil, and I think that's a good example to go by, because what seems to be the devil, for example, my landlord yesterday, my oven broke down, and my intuition was call the landlord and tell him it broke. And I expected him to kind of replace it. And he said, "Oh yeah, your oven is broke. You need a new one." That was it. So he was the devil for me because he didn't do what I expected, and instead he gave me a number I could call of someone who could sell me an oven. And without forgiveness, I would have thought this guy is just, trying to make business for his friends and, staying out of costs for himself. But when I joined with, the greater joining, and listened to the calm instructions, it was clear, don't go against it. Um, don't make accusations, don't demand anything, just follow what he suggests. So I followed through on what he suggests. The guy called me. He suggested another guy that I have no idea who that was. This guy said, come and get the oven from me. It's 50 euros cheaper if you get it from me. It's somewhere in some weird location in the neighbor town. And I said, yeah, that's my instruction for now. So I followed through forgiveness. I followed the steps, and by the end of the day, through the help of all of them, my oven is working again. I've got a new oven. Uh, so if I had done it, I literally wouldn't have done that without forgiveness. My path would have taken longer. I would have been grieving and I would have been upset. I would have been angry with my landlord. But instead, I had an unexpected adventure of installing a new oven for myself and being surprised it turned out so well. So without forgiveness, really, things stay hard and we exclude pathways and encounters that would have been helpful. Like all of those moments of true connection, they were so joyous, helpful, warm-hearted, very down to earth, and enjoyable, very enjoyable, and yeah, comforting in a way. Like really, like in esoteric terms, you would say a very male energy and body. Bam! Hey, you installed that oven and you did it. Thank you for your help, man. So it was heartwarming. And yeah, and forgiveness offers everything I want and more, even an oven. So that's my example from yesterday.
That's yeah, that's a very illustrative way of looking at, how this thing can be applied in everyday life. But isn't it also funny that even when the teacher, the wisdom is actually giving us a very concrete promise that forgiveness offers everything that I want, even when the promise is with us, we refuse to forgive.
Mhm.
Even when we are given the promise. See, that is where we should become alert about our own defensiveness. We don't want, honestly speaking, I don't want peace. I don't want, like you mentioned earlier, I don't want happiness. I don't want this quiet. I want the din and the dust and the noise and the drama and the dilemma so that I can again and again convince myself that I am indeed a victim of the world.
Mhm.
That's a very evident, it is a proof.
It's interesting. It's interesting, and it's so valuable to become aware of that this program is running,
Correct.
and just to uncover it and to become conscious of it. It's like, yeah, okay, I am the Holy Son of God. I am saved. I'm healed. I'm whole. And in my dreaming mind, I'm hanging on to the opposite. So let's get real and apply what has been given to me. Um, Thank you for all the help that is available.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're pretty much coming to an end here. Is there anything you want to give all of us for wrapping up our session together, our Miracle Sunday, Joshua?
Uh, Happy Miracle Sunday.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah,
Happy Miracle. Hey,
happiest. Yeah.
mhm. Yes, and thank you all for joining us here. And I see there are also some guys on YouTube. And thanks for jumping in on this new format that we received through guidance and through our conversations together, Joshua and myself. Thank you for Christiane for hosting and Corona for translating. And yeah, and if you're happy to support this work, feel free to do so and use PayPal if you like. The link is in the chat. And we're happily joining again in 2 weeks, inshallah, if God wills, if things work out as we planned. And I wish you a beautiful, miracle-filled Sunday, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you all of you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everyone. God bless us all.
Bye. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
God bless us. Thank you.